ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So we covered up to the second Valli. Now we will enter the third Valli. Okay. So this Valli opens by saying, Yamaraja says, if you take Veda as a pramana, what are the possibilities you can accomplish? What can you accomplish with this body? You can accomplish moksha, or you may be able to accomplish some Swargaloka, etc. Both are possible, depending on what you choose. If you choose to live Vedika life, perform some, rituals, be connected to Ishvara, do dana, do tapas, etc., then you will travel. So what happens to a person when a person drops? There's a travel generally. What's a travel? It could be Uttara Marga or Dakshina Marga or Manushaloka or Adho Marga, which means you can remain a human being. You can be born in a life form which has even less privileges and free will. You can be born in a more exalted situation like a Deva, where you will be predominantly engaged in enjoyment. There is Bhoga Pradhana. Devata Janma is Bhoga Pradhana. Unlikely you will come towards moksha because life is so comfortable. The life of an animal or an insect or a plant is there is no free will and there is no desire to go for moksha. So we say Manushya Jivanam is the best for mokshatvam. But both these possibilities exist. You can do Vedika karma and go to heaven, etc., or you can go to moksha. But for either of these, what do you need? You need a mind that is with you to some extent. You cannot accomplish anything by letting things just happen. Our culture had this pradhanya of, you see in the past, for everything they'll do this. This means sankalpa. You make a sankalpa. The priest will tell you even today, you go, you have some big karma, he'll say, you come do sankalpa, then have go tiffin. Go eat your tiffin and come back. What is sankalpa? You are making a declaration, a promise, I am going to do this karma for this purpose. And once you make a affirmation that I am going to do it, you have to do it. It's a word given. So it looked like we always made a deliberate choice to do something in our culture. It looks like that to me. This is purely my thinking, okay? The deliberate choice made. You make a choice to do something. And once you make a choice, you make it happen. You don't make a choice and say, I won't do it. No, you have to do it. So now, if you want to do that, what should you be able to do? If you make a choice, you must be able to carry it out. To do that, what do you need? You need the ability to choose and stay with it all the way. That capacity, if you see now, seems to have reduced a lot. It's not that we don't understand what to do in a class or when we understand, but we seem to be incapable of carrying out what we want to do. There's a weakness of resolve, if I can say that. There's a weakness, a certain weakness. It is like Duryodhana's story. I know what is to be done, but I have no inclination towards that. Janami. Dharmam janami. Name pravrittihi. Janami adharmam. I know what is not to be done. Nachame nivrittihi. I can't let go. I'm forced to do that. Some devil seems to make me do it. Hey, there is no devil, it is you. You are the devil. But why, if you know what is to be done, why you can't do it? Something pressurizes you. And you are unable to say no to it. I have Shraddha. Still, why don't I do this? Some pressure is there. Shraddha is after all for Jnanam. You have some knowledge, but it is not knowledge, it is belief until it becomes knowledge. You have knowledge that this will serve you well. You have a knowledge this won't serve you well. But what do you end up doing? You end up doing many a time what won't serve you well. And then even as you do, you'll say, why am I doing this? It happens, right? You will observe it happening in your life. What do we do then? What should we do then? The reason why it would happen, I think, is there are two values. One for what you like to do, and one what you think you should do. There's a dichotomy there. The value for what you like is well assimilated. Well assimilated. I told you, bird in hand. It's well assimilated. But the value for what you should do is not so strong, and it will require some effort perhaps. Who will win? That which has a stronger tendency will win until the pain or the recognition of the pain which will come by not doing what is to be done starts to register here. If it registers, hopefully we are able to turn back. But the Upanishad itself is making clear that, look, there are both these. But for whatever you do, you have to do what? You have to have an ability to carry out what you want to do. And so third mantra onwards will give you an imagery of a chariot. It's called Ratha Kalpana. Ratha Kalpana. Chariot imagery. What is Ratha Kalpana? Chant after me. Third mantra. Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi. Shariram Rathamevatu. Buddhim Tusarathim Vidhi. Manaf Pragrahamevacha. Indriyani Hayanahuhu. Vishayansteshu Gocharan. Atmendriyamano Yuktam. Bhoktetyahur Manishinaha. The imagery is Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi. Vidhi, you know. You understand. What do you understand? Know that you are the one who has a Ratha. Rathinam. Rathin means Rathasya Asti. One who has Ratha. Means you are the passenger of the chariot. Not owner of the chariot that way. Okay? You are the one who will travel in the chariot. There is a gati involved in life. Gati means what? A movement. The movement requires what? A transport. It requires some transport to move from point A to point B. What is the transport? Old time transport? Horse-drawn chariot. A horse-drawn carriage. Okay. What does a horse-drawn carriage consist of? A carriage, horses. What holds the horses together? The reins. Who holds the reins? A coachman or a charioteer. All this is involved. And if the passenger in the chariot has to reach his destination, what should be good? The chariot should be good. The charioteer should know his way. The rein should be held well. And the horses should be trained. Right? So now, what is the imagery now? What is the chariot, the coach? Shariram, this body. This body is the Ratha. Who is the charioteer for this chariot? Buddhi. The determinative faculty of the antahkaranam. Buddhi. Who holds, what are the senses? What takes the chariot forward? What's the motive power? The indriyas for us, the horses, compared to the five senses. Because they drag this body all around. If you don't have a body, if you don't have senses, no eyes, no ears, where will your pravritti be? Where will your nivritti be? So what takes this body around? The indriya leads it. Nayati. Ratham nayati. So that is the indriyas. Indriyani hayanahu. What holds the indriyas, the horses here? The mind. Sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha. The mind. That is manaha pragraham. Pragraha means reins. Lagam. Pragraham eva. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. The buddhi is the sarathi. The intelligent fellow who has to hold the reins and manage the horses, everything he has to do properly. And what is the road on which this chariot travels? Vishayan steshu gocharan. The eyes have the objects of sight, ears have sounds, tongue has taste. That's the road for these horses. The horses run on these roads. Means a world of objects, names and forms. Who is the chariot? Who is the fellow who enjoys all this? Atmendriya manoyuktam bhokta ityahur manishinaha. Manishinaha, the people who know this chariot imagery in our context. What do they say? Bhokta. The one who experiences, has all the experience sitting in the chariot, is who? Atma indriya manoyuktam. So, here, Sharira Indriya Manobhi Sanyuktam Atmanam. Vashyakara. The Atma, along with the body, the mind and senses. That is like saying, the gold, along with the links and the connectors, and this body is called a chain. Now, is gold a different reality? Do you think Atma and Mano Indriya are separate here? No. That's the way it is. Atma is like gold. Indriya Mano Yuktam. Sharira Indriya Mano Yuktam. What is it called? Bhokta iti ahur manishinaha. What does bhokta mean? Bhuj dhatu. To experience. To enjoy, you don't enjoy pain. So to experience is better. Bhokta is the experiencer. They'll say enjoyer, it's okay. But experiencer is a better translation. What does Bhashyakara have to say? Bhokta iti samsari iti ahuhu. He translates bhokta as samsari. Who is samsari? Experience hunter. Wants one experience after another. That's his life. He is only after experiences. Nice definition, no? Who is bhokta? Samsari. Bhashyakara put some gems here and there. So far as I want to have one more experience, I am going to be a samsari. Samsaranam is my lot. Samsaranam means what? Saranam means movement. See, the benefit of Sanskrit is that you enjoy more of the word. Each word tells you something more about itself. Samyak sarati. You travel very well based on your karma and your ragadvesha. All that will come into samyak. Samsarati. So bhokta is what? Samsari. You have any doubt who is bhokta now? Who is samsari? Bhokta. If you say aham bhokta, iyam mama bhogaha, ayam mama bhogaha, what will you be? Samsari. If you say abhokta aham, akarta aham, muktaha. You're free. If you say I am not the experiencer, I am not the doer, then what are you? I am the presence in which experiences happen. I am the ocean in which the waves and bubbles rise and go. I am not involved. But without me, there are no waves, there are no bubbles. But I am unaffected. I remain the whole ocean all the time. But if you think you're a wave, I am short-lived. Even more short-lived, froth. Comes and goes. I have no life. Jayasva, Mriyasva. Born and dead. So, where do you want to be now? You want to say Ham Bhokta or you want to say Ham Bhokta? But to say Ham Bhokta requires some infrastructure. So this whole imagery is being given to make the infrastructure understandable. It's only explaining how to gain adhikaritvam. What does it mean to be an adhikari? So if a charioteer wants to reach his destination, sorry, not charioteer, if the person who takes the chariot wants to reach the destination, what's important? Every piece in the chariot is important. The charioteer is the one who drives the chariot. He should know the roads. He should know the pitfalls in the roads. Right? And he should know how to handle the reins. And through the reins, he handles the horses. All this he should be knowledgeable. It's like, a good car driver. He drives, the car breaks down, he knows how to stop, put a jack, change a tire, put it back and go. Whereas most of the owner drivers, many of them today, what will they do if the car breaks down? You have to call somebody else. Because we don't know how to do. So far the car runs, we know how to press the gas pedal and, it goes. If it goes, chalti ka naam gadi, no problem. If it stops, then you call somebody. And then you say, Swamiji, we were very lucky. Somebody else was coming behind us and they helped us change our tire. Bhagwan is very graceful and close. And Swamiji would ask, who gave you the flat tire in the first place? Bhagwan is graceful. He gave you somebody to help you change your tire. But who gave the flat in the first place? That is also Bhagwan. Recognize it. This is by the way. Okay? So, this is the charioteer. Then, how should the reins be held? If you pull too hard, the horses won't go forward. If you leave it too loose, they will go wherever they want to go. There is an adequate pressure applied. Adequate. Not more, not less. Right? And even if you apply, have you seen this polo in equestrian events in Olympics? How do they make the horse do so many things? It does a lot of things. In a quick time, they will make it do a lot of things, right? How do they do it? Do they pull something hard? They manage. They train the horses so well. He does this, it knows what to do. In our culture, it is all well known. It is called Ashwavidya. Nala Maharaja, in Nala Damayanti's story, he learned, he had Ashwavidya. He lost a game of dice. He went, it was a long story, but then he exchanged Ashwavidya for Akshavidya, how to play dice. But what is Ashwavidya? You can make a horse fly. You know how it works, how its minds work. That's the idea. You know the horses inside out. That's called Ashwavidya. So with that knowledge, you can make, so they say, in the story, there is Swayamvara. And all kings are invited. And Nala is staying far away. But only if it's Nala, he can make it. That's the idea, okay? Because that speed he needs. He can make the horses fly. He has Ashwavidya. What does it take? You should know how to manage the horses. Untrained horses you cannot use for anything. Any horse, if it's a wild horse, it's got a lot of horsepower. but that power will not be available to you. It will be applied where the horse wants it. Right? So what have you got to do? You have to train a horse. You know, to train an elephant, you capture a wild elephant by cheating it. How do you train it? It's not easy. You starve the poor animal, you beat it, you coax it. It has to, even a huge elephant has to somehow think you have mastery over it. If it realizes what its strength is over you, forget elephant, even cow you can't handle. You know, our Gir cows here, which used to be earlier, they are pretty big. You know, you can't single-handed do anything. If they cooperate, you're okay. If they don't cooperate, you don't have a chance, honestly. Even these big dogs that I see people, you know, fellow starts taking a dog for a walk. He starts taking it for a walk. After a while, what do you find? The dog is taking for a run. Right? And I prefer not to be in its path because you don't know what, he can't hold the beast, you know. And it seems to have, you know, big ears and tongue. It's coming Alsatian dog, whatever, you know, you don't want it around because it's stronger than owner many a time. But what I'm saying is, you have to train an animal. And there are, how many animals involved here? For our chariot, there are 5 animals, okay? 5 horses. Each of them has to be trained appropriately so that it listens to the owner, the charioteer. How? Through the reins. That's the mind. So what's required now? If you want to travel in a chariot, which is your chariot, and reach your destination, whether it's Uttama Gati, Abhyudaya, or Nishreyas, Moksha, whether you want prayas or you want shreyas, for both you need a person who has the ability to have a say over his own mind and senses. It's not only for moksha. Even to live a life, a corporate life, you want to be successful, what do you need? You need ability. You need the ability to focus, ability to do what has to be done. Nothing can be accomplished by a loose pajama thinking fellow. Has to be tight. Therefore, whether you want Abhyudaya, Abhyudaya means an improvement of your status here and now within samsara, or you want to get out of samsara, what do you need? You need this chariot to be well taken care of. That's the imagery here. So having described the chariot, he says what? Look at verse 5. Yastva vijnanavan bhavati. Yastu avijnanavan bhavati. Yuktena ayuktena manasa sada. Tasyendriyanyavashyani. Duštashva iva sarathehe. So, if you're avijnanavan, you know, yastu avijnanavan bhavati, one who does not have the right knowledge. And what does he have? Ayuktena manasa sada. He has a mind which is not with himself. Buddhi is not okay. Mind he is not able to manage. Tasya indriyani avashyani. His horses will be indisciplined, out of control. Like what? Dushtaha ashvaha iva sarathe. Like the untrained horses of a unskilled charioteer. Okay? On the other hand, what will be there? Yastu vijnanavan bhavati. Yuktena manasa sada. Tasyendriyani vashyani. Sadashva iva sarathe. So you can see, previously it's Dushtashva, now Sadashva. Good horses, trained horses. For whom? One who is Vijnanavan, one who is knowledgeable about how to manage the horses, how to manage the roads, everything. He will have what? His mind will be with him, his senses will be trained like the trained horses in the imagery. All right? So, if a person is avijnanavan, then what will happen? Then he will gain, where will he go? He will not gain better gati. He will not gain moksha. Where will he go? He will go to samsara because he wants to do something, but he does something else. Duryodhana, where will he go? Samsara. That is said in the next verse. Yastu avijnanavan bhavati amanaskas sada shuchihi nasatat padamapnoti samsaranchadhigacchati. Yastu avijnanavan bhavati. Not a well-informed charioteer. Amanaskaha. What is amanaskaha? Amanaskaha. Ka is there at the end. Amanaskaha bahurihi. Okay? Amanaskaha. Capture that. That's why I point out that to you. What is it? Avidyamanaha manaha yasya. Does he have no mind? No. He has a mind. It can't be abhavarthena. Everybody has a mind. What kind of a mind? Alpartha probably. Correct. A mind which is not adequately trained. Amanaskaha. One who has a mind which is inadequately trained is amanaskaha. And what is it? Sada can be sada shuchihi, or can also be what? Sada ashuchihi. What is it here? Contextually, ashuchi. Don't say sada ashuchihi, then trouble. Sada ashuchihi. Always not straight, not clean thinking. What will he gain? Saha tat padam na apnoti. Na goes with apnoti. Na apnoti. The na has to go with the verb. Na apnoti. He will not gain it. Where will he gain? He will not gain moksha. What will he gain? Samsaranchadi gacchati. Swamiji, I want moksha. Do you have your horses together? Do you have the reins together? The charioteer, the buddhi is okay? See, the Gita imagery is this. Charioteer is who? For the chariot. It is Parthasarathi. Who is Parthasarathi? Krishna. Bhagavan is a buddhi. Right? And therefore, chariot will go in the right direction because Vijnanavan Sarathi. All right? Why Parthasarathi is outside Partha? Because this is Shruti Jnanam, where the means of knowledge is not your own buddhi. It is your buddhi which has to align with Shastra, with Bhagavan's vision. Therefore, that buddhi is led by Bhagavan Krishna. That's the way you should look at it. So that whole imagery comes from here, the chariot imagery. So in contrast, what? Next verse, number 8. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati samanaskas sada shuchihi satu tat padamapnoti yasmat bhuyo na jayate. So this is what? In contrast to the previous fellow, yastu vijnanavan bhavati, well-informed, well-trained charioteer. What will he be? Samanaskaha. Again, manaskaha. Bahurihi. But what is samanaskaha now? Manasa saha. Saha bahurihi. You will be with the mind. Means the mind which you have in your hand. And sada, now you can see, sada shuchihi. Sada shuchihi. What about him? Satu tat padamapnoti. He will gain that end. Which end? Yasmat bhuyo na jayate. After gaining which, you will not be born again as a samsari. You are not born again. Birth means samsara. You will not be born again. Means you will gain moksha. So this is the idea of the chariot imagery. So what does it mean now? What's the implication? I should have a sense, all my senses should not go on their own accord after sense objects. Senses never go on their own. It's always the mind. The mind should be informed enough. Sankalpa vikalpatmakam mana. It will say, I think I should go shopping. It wants to go shopping. What would Buddhi say? Buddhi should say, why do you need to shop? You already got 15 dresses. You need 16th one or what? It should tell. Then, if Buddhi is able to convince the mind not to do it, he is samanaskaha. But you bought the dress and you say, oh, I got a 17th dress. Amanaskaha. Right? That's what it is. And now it's very easy. You order from Myntra.com, you check it out, and you return it next day. So every day the courier comes, delivers, and takes back. I don't know how Myntra makes money, but they keep returning dresses every now and then. Is that true or not? So that's how it works. But if you are clear, then you don't get into what you don't need. Nothing wrong with buying a dress. Nothing wrong with shopping. No guilt. But is it needed? Is it not needed? That is called Vijnanavan. So, 9th verse. Vijnanasarathir yastu manaf pragrahavan naraha sodhvanaf paramapnoti tad vishnof paramam padam. Yastu Vijnanavan Sarathi Yastu. One who is Vijnanavan Sarathi means what? Vijnan. We are not talking of Vijnanavan Sarathi, okay? Yastu not Vijnanavan, Vijnana Sarathi. Vijnana Sarathir Yastu. One who has a Sarathi who has Vijnanam. Or Vijnana is Sarathi for whom? Proper understanding. If you watched Adi Shankaracharya's Sanskrit movie, they presented the movie in terms of two characters. One is called Pragyana, one is called Mrityu. Did any of you see the movie? Adi Shankaracharya in Sanskrit, G.V. Iyer? You will see that. It's a movie. So the director has shown Shankara has got two friends. One is Mrityu, one is Pragyana. And he listens to Pragyana. But he is friendly with Mrityu. That's the way it's depicted. Characters as though. Very nice. So here, Vijnana Sarathiryastu and Manaf Pragrahavan. Mind rein he holds well. Saha Advanaha Paramapnoti. He will cross the roads. He will become Margatitaha. Advanaf Paramapnoti. And what is that? Tad Vishnov Paramam Padam. Because you have value for Vishnu Pada. You have lived in Vedika life for a long time. You have this image of going to Vaikuntha. Okay, this is Vishnu Pada only. Vaikuntha, real Vaikuntha is this, not some other place. That's the idea. So then, with this the imagery is over. This is for adhikaritvam. So am I a person whose mind senses are together with me? That's important because otherwise, nata tat padam apnoti. Very clear. All right. Now what we see after this is a method being taught. How to understand this truth about myself. So he says that, let's look at the next verse, 10th verse. Indriyebhyah parahyarthaha arthebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddheratma mahan paraha mahataf paramavyaktam avyaktat purushah paraha purushatna param kinchit sa kashtha sa paragatihi. See, what is the indriya made up of? This indriya, the senses. We're not talking of the sockets or the physical eyes you see. What are the senses constituted of? we have to understand there's a model here. What's the model? This body which is gross, which is available for the sense perception, is called sthula sharira. And what is it made up of? In our model, the model is panchabhutatmaka, panchamahabhuta. Why do you have panchamahabhuta? Hey, there are only 5 ways you can know this world in. Is that true or not? How do you know the world? Forget your physics and chemistry. How do you know the world? In terms of 5 senses? Is there any 6th sense you know the world by? That 6th sense is only in your head, okay? So you have 5 senses. Each of them gives you one view of the world. Eyes gives you a visual world. Ears give you a sound world. So when you eat something, you have all the worlds. You know? If you eat some fragrant fruit, you know? So certain mangoes are good for taste. Certain mangoes are good for fragrance too. Not all mangoes have fragrance. Apus you can buy doesn't have fragrance as much. You can buy Ratnaguri apus. It will still not have fragrance. You go to Bangalore to buy something called Raspuri. It has a certain fragrance. You can feel it. It will tell you from half a mile. Jackfruit, you have to ask, is there a jackfruit around? It will announce itself, I am here. Right? That's a world. You feel the jackfruit, the outer skin, it's a feel. It's a different world. So how do you know the world? Anything you perceive in the world, you look into it. It will be 5-fold. I'm not talking emotions at this point, okay? The physical world. Emotions are responses to the physical world. Panchabhutatmaka. So five ways of knowing, and each of them is accounted for by one element. We call it element. Panchamahabhuta. 5. Therefore you have what? The sight is accounted for by one element, smell by one element, and there is subtlety within that. Therefore what? Akasha, the subtlest, accounts for sound. Then Vayu accounts for touch. Then sight is accounted for by Agni Tattva, fire element. Then the taste is accounted for by Apaha. And finally you have what? Prithvi. What is Prithvi? Smell. What is Prithvi? Not just smell. Prithvi is derived from water. Water is derived from fire. Fire is derived from Vayu. Vayu is derived from Akasha. Akasha came from what? Brahman. So what is Prithvi? Brahman. It is like shirt to thread business, okay? Shirt is all the way that. Same way. Panchamahabhutas are not separate. They are nothing but Vastu. Alright? But still, there is, see, did you put this body together yourself? Is this body put together by you? Any one of us? No. Is the mind put together by us? We call this the individual. Why do you call it an individual? Because there are other individuals. What put it together? Something which knows how to put individuals together. What can I call it? Samashti, total. Right? So the model is what? Look, the Indriyas are there. But if you want to know what's subtler than the Indriyas, now you are going by subtlety. Para, the word is paraha, indriyebhyaha parahyarthaha, arthebhyascha param manaha, manasastu parabuddhihi. See all that? Para, param. What does para mean? Sukshmaha, subtler. Mahan means more pervasive. And pratyak, inner, objectifies what is outside. These are the 3 meanings of para. Subtler, more pervasive, inner. Okay? That's the sense in which the mantra is meant. That's how Bhashyakara presents it. So now, what is subtler than the sense organs? The elements which go into making the sense organs. And the same elements also make the sense objects. The connection between sense objects and sense organs is possible because the same elements are involved in both. All right? So he says, Indriyebhya parahyarthaha. So you're going from something which is grosser, something which is less pervasive, to something subtler, inner, more pervasive. Like you're going from shirt to fabric, fabric to yarn, yarn to threads, threads to cotton. That's the order, okay? Same thing here. So now, subtler than and para to Indriya is the artha. Artha here stands for elements, okay? Arthebhyascha param manaha. Now, the mind is also subtle elements. Indriya is also subtle elements. But there is greater subtlety. While each sense has one element, the mind has got all 5 elements, the subtler component. So this all you have studied Tattvabodha, you will know. You know, samashti sattvikamshat, etc. You will hear. There is a vyashti and samashti, individual total there also. So the mind is accounted for. So indriyebhya parahyarthaha arthebhyascha param manaha. What is more subtle than the manaha? Buddhi. All right. What is subtler than the buddhi? Buddhir atma mahan paraha. What is atma here? It is not atma, okay? It is the total coming down. Hiranyagarbha, Virat, etc. you bring in here, if you understand what those mean. See, when you look, if there is only one reality, how you look at it is up to you. If you look at it from one body's perspective, it's an individual. Brahman, looked at through one body, is individual. The same Brahman looked at from the totality of all bodies, what manages it, is Virat, gross level. If you look at it subtle level, it is called Hiranyagarbha. If you look at it as the unmanifest level, it is called Avyakta or Maya. So it's all one thing, but looked at from a perspective, from a standpoint. So here, it is the buddhehe paraha mahanatma, means now you have moved from individual to total. Then manasastu para buddhi, buddher atma mahan paraha, mahataha param avyaktam. Avyakta is the unmanifest. World is yet to manifest. That is more subtle and more pervasive than the manifest. Then avyaktat purusha paraha. What is beyond that? What is subtler than that? Purushaha, Purnaha, the whole, the one reality which we want to know. So, all right, so this is better than Purusha. Who is better than Purusha? See, this is a child's question. It is called Kramapatitam. You have a sequence. A is better than B, B is better than C, C is better than D, D is better than E is better than what? That's the question of a child. It thinks the sequence will go on forever. You can't. At some point it stops. That is called kashtha, sa kashtha. That's the end. You can't go further. Sa paragatihi. So what's the journey? Even as you see an artha, indriya artha, you can traverse from there to the mind, to the buddhi's controller, and then to avyakta and avyakta to purusha. What's the distance physically? 0. It's all travel cognitively. Okay? So we have to understand this is all a prakriya. Really karana-karya prakriya, which we'll look at more when we get into our current Valli. So we'll keep it for then. All right? We'll look at that. So this is how it is to be done. So where have you arrived now? You have arrived at paraha, purushaha. That's the goal. And what is that goal? It is Vishnoho Paramam Padam. No more travel involved. So what has to be said has been taught now. Why Upanishad continues again and again? No, somebody told me this morning, I don't know what you will continue after class, after morning class, what has to be said. True, there's nothing to be said. But yet, here we are. And there is something more to be said. Our memories seem to be very, very, very small, short-lived. So you have to again and again hear it so that it settles down in our head. So now what? Again, Nachiketa is being told by Yamaraja. 12, verse 12. Eshu sarveshu bhuteshu gudhotmana prakashate drishyate tvagreya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibihi eshaha purushaha. This purusha, this whole, the limitless whole being that you want to know, sarveshu bhuteshu gudaha, is present in every being. But how? Gudaha, guptaha, hidden, gudaha, samvritaha, covered. Covered by what? Covered by what? You tell me, is the shirt covering cotton? Is your shirt or your dress covering cotton? But if you miss cotton and you see the dress, what is covering cotton? Your dress is covering cotton. But is it covering cotton or is it revealing cotton? Depends on where your interest is. If you're looking, oh, this is new type of style of kurta, this is kurti, then you have to do something about it. Interest is there. I have many kurtas, but I didn't have a kurti, so I'll order one now. But if you say, oh, this is cotton, I have plenty of cotton. See, buddhi is different. When you're looking at the same shirt, somebody will say, you are comfortable because you are wearing cotton. He won't say you're wearing a kurta or kurti. Same object, how you look at it is different. Right? Gudaha is what? Hidden. Hidden by what? Darshana, Shravanadi, Karma, Avidya, Maya, Mayachannaha. It is covered by Darshana, Shravana, etc. You're only seeing sounds, forms, tastes, colors. That's what your eyes are capturing. That's all my attention goes to. What the eyes and the mind can capture as dictated by my ragadvesha. Therefore, what happens? What it really is not paid attention to. It's not hidden really, but it never occupies my attention. My attention is to what makes me happy. What makes me happy? Some experience. What experience will come from? From senses meeting sense objects. Where will that experiential happiness come? In the mind. See, everything is well given to us. So you go after it. Therefore, Bhashyakara says, don't think it's really hidden. Gudaha, samvritaha, by what? By all these. By all these it is hidden. Therefore what? Atma na prakashate. Atma doesn't shine. What do you mean Atma doesn't shine? When you see a shirt, are you seeing cotton or something else? What is the easiness of your shirt? Cotton. Can you say cotton doesn't shine? Can you say that? So Bhashyakara says, cotton doesn't shine as cotton. Atmatvena na prakashate. It doesn't shine as what it really is. What should it shine as? It shines as a name and a form for you. You only see a kurta. You don't see what kurta is. That's our language. What is this? A clay pot. This is a clay pot. What is this noun? What is substantive? Pot. What is the adjective? Clay. So, what is substantive should be bigger or adjective should be bigger? Adjective is to separate substantive. Distinguish one substantive from another. You think this is substantive? Or clay is substantive? What is substantive? Pot has no being without clay. So what should language have been? Potty clay. Not clay pot. Should have said potty clay. But what do we say? Clay pot. So what does it show? What does the language reveal? Avidya. Whole language is based on avidya. Therefore, we have to retrieve the language and bring back vidya through the wrong language. That's how it is. So, na prakashate, but drishyate tu. Generally, it is not seen. Drishyate tu, but it is recognized. How? Agriyaya buddhya sukshmaya. By a sharp buddhi, by a thinking intellect. Who has it? Sukshmadarshibihi. By a person who has the capacity to see the subtle, to see that which is not apparent. Sukshmam drashtum sheelam yasya. Sukshmadarshi. Upapada tatpurusha. So, Sukshmadarshibihi. So, this again tells you what? You have it. You have the capacity to see. But what should you be? Sukshmadarshi. What will that require? Sukshma buddhi. Agriya buddhi. How will you gain that? Handle the chariot well. The horses, the chariot, all that will come back. So again telling us, it can be seen. In the Gita also here, in the 15th chapter. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunam vitam. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunan vitam vimudhaha nanupashyanti. Pashyanti dhyana chakshusha. So, utkramantam, going. Sthitam, being. Utkramantam sthitam vapi. Bhunjanam, eating. Gunanvitam, followed by gunas. Who is doing all this? Who is eating? Who is drinking? Who is walking? Who is talking? Who? Atma. What else can do everything? Atma alone is. But what do you see? You don't see Atma. So, Bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudhaha nanupashyanti. Vimudhaha. They are taken away by the looks, the names and forms. Their attention only goes to names and forms. Therefore, they don't see the truth. Pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Those who have that eye of understanding, they recognize it all the time. It's not one special Atma experience. It's every experience Atma. Then what took you away? Vimudha. Vimudhaha nanupashyanti. Pashyanti jnana chakshusha. So that same idea is here. Gita and this have a lot in common. So, what is agreya buddhya? See, this you have to understand. People will say it's a focused buddhi. You need to understand one thing here. Normal sense of focus is to see smaller and smaller more clearly. It's like you're zooming in. Okay? You zoom in and see more and more of little. That's our normal specialization in today's world. But the Sukshma Buddhi you need in Vedanta is to go from Vishesha to Samanya. It's not looking at a pot and finding one small piece in the pot and knowing, oh, that is it. It's not like that. Then what is it instead? You look at the pot and you take away the speciality called pot and you see the pot still as clay. What did you do? You took away the special and you landed on the general. You take away the special from that, land on something more general. So what are you going towards? From specialization to non-specialization. Specialization will always be separate things. Generalization will bring it to the common ground. So Sukshma Buddhi is not the Sukshma Buddhi of the normal way. Here it is always recognizing the one. Finally, you have to go to Nirvishesha. Vishesha is specialization. From Savishesha, you have to go to Nirvishesha. From Saguna, you have to go to Nirguna. Where? In your head, not outside. There is nothing Nirguna which you can capture with your mind or senses. But that being, that easiness, that which is always aviparilupta, trick, you cannot miss it. because that's you. But the drishti has to go from all these specialized vastus to just the being. That's the way it works. Okay? So therefore, he says, you resolve the sense perceptions in the mind. You resolve the mind in the buddhi. You resolve the buddhi in this total, and resolve the total in yourself. That is the way to know. That's the mantra number 13. I'm not going to do it right now. Okay? Then what should you do therefore? Next line, 14. Famous mantra. Uttishtata jagrata prapyavaran nibodhata kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgam pathastat kavayo vadanti. So Yamaraja is giving a wake-up call. Through Nachiketa, he is giving a wake-up call to all of us. That's how you should see it. Nachiketa doesn't need a wake-up call. He is very wide awake. Now, this is how the presentation is. You see, in Gita, what do we say? Gita was milk. Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. Who milked it? Who is the cow? Sarvo Panishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. All the cows, if you look at Upanishads, are cows. What do you need cows for? Not for grazing, okay? You need milk. Therefore, you have to milk it. You and I can't milk a cow. It will give you a kick. You need a skilled fellow to milk it. Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. All the Upanishads are the cows. And the skilled person who can milk this cow is Krishna. Partho Vatsaha. Who is the calf for which sake the milk is given by the cow? Cow doesn't give milk unless it has a calf. Who is the calf? Arjuna. Partho Vatsaha. And do you think only the calf drinks the milk? If all of us are drinking milk, the poor cow gives milk for the calf. Who enjoys the milk? Vayam sarve. Same way, Partho Vatsaha. Who is the bhokta of the milk? Sudhihi. One who has the proper thinking. Otherwise, they'll say, what is this Gita? Useless thing. You go to Gita class, I will go for, movie premiere. Whatever. So the point is, Sudhihi bhokta. And what is the milk? Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat. Same way here also. Uttishtata, not meant for Nachiketa, okay? He's awake. Meant for all of us. Wake up. Jagrata. Be alert. Right? Prapyavaran nibodhata. Once you have this trained mind and senses, what should you do? Just sit. Swamiji, everything will come to me. Everything happens by itself. Ishvara will give me. He'll bless me. Everything Ishvara will make happen. He'll bless me. True. But he has given you a mind. He expects you to use it, okay? If you don't use it, it's not his problem. So, what should you do? Prapya varan nibodhata. Varan prapya. Varan means what? People who can teach you. Prapya, having approached them. Nibodhata, understand. Gain the understanding. That is in your hand. Prapya varan nibodhata. Then, famous line. Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. This walking on a razor's edge. It's a very delicate path. It will cut you. The razor can cut you. Idea is you have to be careful. There are too many slips possible in this path because you are led astray by andhena niyamanaha yathandhaha. They're all there. Right? So this is told by Yamaraja. Then again comes back to what? It's 5 o'clock. I'll take a few more minutes, okay? Now I'm aware of the time today. Okay. So, again Yamaraja is going to summarize the whole teaching. Read the verse 15. Ashabdamasparsham arupam avyayam tatharasam nityamagandhavachayat anadyanantam mahataf param dhruvam nichayatan mrityumukhat pramuchyate. You want to be free from limitation? Because you said, is there something survives death? Yes, there is. You want to get that? What is it you want to know? That Atma? Because you told me, teach me that. I'm teaching you. What is that? Ashabdam. Ashabdam means what? It is not available for your ears. Asparsham. Not available for your sense of touch. Arupam. Not available for sight. Then agandham. Not available for smell, sense of smell. Arasam. Not available for tasting. What is it? It is avyayam, unchanging. Further, what is it? Nityam. It's ever present. It's never not there. It's not something which comes and goes in time. It is anadyanantam. Anadi and ananta. Has no beginning, has no end. If it has no beginning, it doesn't exist. Suppose a person never had a son, son doesn't exist. It's not like that. That which exists but is not born. The only thing that exists but is not born. And everything else born is borrowing existence from that which exists. All right? That is the who am I. That is the real who am I. That which doesn't go. So anadyanantam mahataha param. It is that which transcends even the Mahanatma, the Samashti. Nichayatam. You know, having understood that, Nichaya, clearly understood. Mrityumukhat pramuchyate. How do you recognize? That unchanging presence is me. That unchanging presence is me. What am I not? I am not what I took myself to be. A karta bhokta. Bhoktetyahuhu samsarityahuhu manishinaha. What am I? Akarta aham. Abhokta aham. Then what am I? Ahamevaham avyayaha. I am that unchanging being, unchanging presence. And this insight you should be able to see when you're quiet. That's why in the meditation I said, just be. Don't do. Try not to do. Because doing is not something inherent to me. Just be. What does it take to be yourself? It should take nothing. Because even if you dance, you are. Even if you're agitated, you are. You are excited, you are. You are anxious, you are. Remove these other extra anxiety, excitement, anger. Remove all that. Then what is remaining? I am. That I am is present when you're angry. That I am is present when you're sad. That I am is presented when you're excited. That I am is presented when you're jealous. Everywhere it is present. Everything is Atma. Swami, if everything is Atma, let everything be. Yes, you can let everything be. But that jealous fellow will never be comfortable in life. Because he's always looking at somebody else and becomes unhappy. He doesn't care what he has. This is Duryodhana's problem. He says, Dad, don't tell me that I should let go this kingdom. My problem, you keep telling me how much I have. I have Hastinapura, I have all the kingdom. That is not my problem. What is your problem? My problem is Yudhishthira has got Indraprastha. I don't like to see Yudhishthira having good life. If he has a good life, I have a problem. You know, I tell you the story. There was this, person who would pray. And he would get what he wanted. And every time he prayed, his neighbor got double of what he asked for. So this fellow is, see, I get one sack of gold. When I get one sack, this fellow gets two, without doing anything. So he was very upset. He told Bhagavan, he did japa and told, what do you want? My neighbor shouldn't get. I can't do that. Whatever you get, he will get double that. That's the rule. That's his punya. This fellow says, may I go blind in one eye. See how jealousy works. It is also Atma, but it is that aspect of Atma which will never make you comfortable. Because a lot of people say, Swamiji, everything is Ishvara, why should I change anything? Everything is Ishvara, all right. But there are things in Ishvara's creation which will help you grow into recognition of your being whole, and things which will keep you in the ditches. You choose. The justification to say everything is Ishvara is not good, because Punya, Papa is all Ishvara. Dukkha, Sukha is all Ishvara. Are you comfortable with both? Be happy. No, I want only Sukha. Then work for it. Right? So, this mantra again, see, this Ashabdam Asparsham is again a mantra which tells you, you can't know it with your senses, so you can't infer. Then what remains? When you cannot know something with your mind and senses, and it has to be known to you without doubt, you know without doubt it has to be you. It cannot be something else. That's how you land on yourself. And you see that you is there. It can't be missed. It can't be missed. That nishtha, that capacity to stay with that is what we need. What happens is our minds are always directed outside. We're trying to always gain something in terms of achievements outside. Achievements in terms of power, in terms of wealth. Even as a teacher, you want to be famous. You want to be known as a better teacher. It never leaves you, you know. It comes. Ahankara will just need one way to survive. Whatever you give it a place, it will be happy to stay there. But don't banish it. This ego wants to be with you. You give it a little place. I am a sadhu. Good. You accept it, you are a sadhu, right? He will stay there. There should be no I am a, nothing. I am. That is jnanam. Everything else is what? An appearance. It should not affect me. Then only aham avyayaha. If it affects me, if an emotion affects me, I am what? Vyeti. I am affected. So this is the meaning. So now what? Last verse. Nachiketam upakhyanam mrityuproktam sanatanam uktva shrutva cha medhavi brahmaloke mahiyate. The story of Nachiketa, which is, which is taught, in which Mrityu teaches, and which is Sanatanam, eternal story it is. Having told this, having heard this, one gains Brahmaloka. Means one becomes the free. Means what? The teacher and the listener are both blessed. Okay? So with that, we have completed the first chapter of Kathopanishad. Tomorrow we'll start with the second chapter. Hopefully by tomorrow evening we'll land where we want to land. Let's see. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.